Hello everyone, this is Chaff Commander Coffee, back with another episode of Civilization 4, Realism, Invictus. We are continuing our game as the Persians, and we've started some early wars with Carthaginians, which are our direct southern neighbours. So far they've gone quite well, but taking Carthage itself may prove quite challenging, so I want to make sure that we're properly prepared for it. We're going to need to build up quite a large force. I expect they'll probably have a full garrison for Carthage, so around 7 units. Now what that means is we've got our immortals, which can do a pretty good job on actually finishing off some of the defenders. They're pretty well promoted for City Raider, but we did lose one of our great generals recently, which is a big shame. So we're going to need to re-recruit one of our immortals, and I think we'll probably need about, if I had to say, maybe 14 of our short swordsmen, something like that. But in the meantime we can continue to improve our economy. We'll get to that probably next turn. Let's think about our build queues for a bit. Right, I think I want to start trading some of the, I do want to build a galley just to explore this coast sort of lake. It might be a lake, it could also extend further south and go into actual coastline, but I'm not sure. So I do want to build that galley, and after that we'll probably train as many short swordsmen as we can whilst we build up a force in Persepolis. I will want those archers to actually act as city garrison units. So we'll build those 2 archers. We'll keep Persepolis on production for now, I think. Yeah, seems fine. And, oh, there's a couple of slaves here who are not working. Have these guys build a road. Now I want to get roads built on all of our cottages, so we can maneuver our defenders around nice and easily. So let's start getting that new immortal. I don't think we'll need any more battering rams, although this army could have 7 units, so if it had the it might need a archer to defend it from skirmishes, because I know the Carthaginians are now starting to get skirmishes. So we will need to get another archer after that, but maybe we'll hold off on that for a moment. 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, and I'll train a force of Cardaces down in the south here to aid the assault. I think that looks about good for now. Other than that, we're just keeping our empire safe from barbarians, so not too much to think about there. Have these guys continue to build that commercial plantation. So yeah, some more barbarians in the north. Let's give this archer city garrison, move him down to Utica. And have those guys just defend there for now. Let's get a storyteller circle for the culture and other such things. Let's get rid of those barbarians. Some of the slaves are going to die after building improvements, but we can always get some more by going to war with some people. Namely the Carthaginians. Let's build roads around all of our cottages. So let's get a road there and a road there. Being attacked by Hadrimentum by barbarians, but nothing that our archer cannot handle, so I think we should be safe there. I'd like Utica onto production. Hadrimentum we can grow up another size, but it is going to need some health. So I think before building the Cardaces we'll get that galley, and then we will work on something quick. The smokehouse will probably be better in the long run. But we'll get the well because it's a bit quicker, and then we'll work on the Cardaces. I want to capture Carthage quite quickly, and then settle the rest of our borders that I've planned out, and then focus on actually building our empire up and making it productive. Okay, so those spearmen have now healed. There's an archer there. I'm not too worried about that. I think we should be able to beat it. Fairly easy win there. Let's give this archer city garrison, move him down to join with the immortals, which I'm now going to move out to that spot there. Some more slaves are dying after building improvements. I think there's a chance that they die. I don't think it's guaranteed, but yeah. And no, we're not giving Hadrimentum back to the Carthaginians. That would be ridiculous. Let's detag Utica. Let's kill those barbarians there. I think we'll focus on building up our, getting a lot of commerce going once we've fully built our land up. I'm going to get a mine up on this hill. Plains Hill is quite nice to get good production from there. Let's give our immortal city raider and get him to join the army. This galley's now done, so let's do some exploring with it. I'm not exactly sure what we'll find, but it'd be nice to find out. Who knows? It might actually extend to the sea. Let's build up our tech a little bit as well. Now we will probably have to drop that back down again. But getting weaponsmithing, how fast could we get weaponsmithing? 7 turns. We are going to plunder more gold from the Carthaginians, so it might be worth just living with that. Have these slaves build a road down to Utica so we can transport our get our units to the front lines a bit quicker. And I'm not sure weaponsmithing is a tech that I want to rush particularly, but we will get 40% tech, so we get that in a reasonable amount of time. Now pretty much all of these Cardaces will be given City Raider as a promotion. Let's just get rid of this battering ram. Should have no problems beating that. Yeah, perfect. And let's get a mine up on this hill. And just keep spewing Cardaces out off Persepolis. We'll need a fairly sizable force, like I said. So it looks like this is just the lake, so we'll just leave our galley on those crabs there. It's not really going to do very much for us. Let's detag Hadrimentum. And I'm probably just going to detag Carthage as well, because we're going to capture that, so yeah, there you go. We will capture it. Don't worry, I will over-prepare to capture Carthage. Simply because you guys know what my combat luck is like if you watch my Mongolia game. It's not great, so I like to make sure I've got plenty of units whenever I go to war, or at least enough units that victory is more or less guaranteed. More barbarians in the south. We won't need more than this one archer to handle them, I shouldn't have thought. Let's get rid of this barbarian archer that's strayed too far into our lands. Perfect. Have those guys go back to sentry. Hadrimentum I would like to grow up another size before I get those Cardaces. I could focus on getting that barracks. So if we were to grow Hadrimentum, the barracks would be nice. Let's just give this guy combat for now. Okay, let's get another Cardaces there. We cleared that forest out. I'm going to spend that forest chop production into an archer to protect that stack against skirmishes, or potentially against skirmishes. Let's move over to production in Hadrimentum, and let that barbarian battering ram move a bit closer to us. Can't build farms on those plains, so we'll ignore them for now. Let's get these workers to help build the road over to Utica, and start cottaging up all of those floodplains, which will be very, very nice. Very nice tiles to work, for sure. So, weaponsmithing coming in soon. Apparently, one of our forests has been destroyed. I would actually like to spend some of my gold to keep that. These archers that I'm going to use to protect the stack, I will probably just give them land tactics. We may use them later on. I want to keep that forest so we can chop it for production a bit later in the game, potentially. Utica has just finished its Storyteller Circle. I think the next thing I'll work on is Carpenters, just to give it some more production. Have this slave continue to build that road. And there's weaponsmithing. Cool. As far as techs go from here... Sculpture wouldn't be terrible, but alphabet could be quite good as well. I think we'll go for alphabet because we can get some. Oh, our pasture was destroyed. Oh, okay, that's really bad. We're gonna have to start working on a worker. How long? The shrinking in 34 turns, so we should be able to get that pasture up if we start working on the worker now. We can't afford to lose that, or the city will start to shrink, which is a bit awkward. No, we do not want to give Utica to the Carthaginians. And we've got some slaves are revolting down in Hadrimentum. And apparently it's going to, now that they're blocking one of our tiles, it's going to take us far too long to get a worker there, which is not good. We need to get that worker as soon as possible. Oh, and the slaves decided to attack as well. And we beat them, no problem, good. And we got our first stack of Cardaces ready. So let's bring them just to the borders. I don't want them to leave my. Actually, let's move them over here. I'll have them attack from this direction, I think. This slave, he can come over here and start building a farm. Now I'm going to focus on slave farms. Slave farms, because we're running slavery as a civic, I think slave farms will provide more food. Not I think, they definitely will provide more food. And we'll have Utica just focus on production for now. I'm not sure what else to do with it for the time being. Hadrimentum is now currently stagnating, but it is working its cottages whilst it's stagnating, so that's not the worst thing that could be happening. Let's get another archer, and then we'll need archer and then another 5 Cardaces, and I think we'll have a large enough force. It might actually be worth grabbing a couple of skirmishes as well, so if I was to move one of these Cardaces back to that force, and then cut a Cardaces out, cut 2 Cardaces out, and build a couple of skirmishes as well. The skirmishes will be probably quite useful overall. So now we're getting alphabet in 1 turn, it's perfect. I think after that we'll cut our research back down, just so we're not running... Oh, well, apparently we didn't quite get it in time. Let's just cut all of our research, which is apparently the only way we can conserve our gold right now. Expanding our army is definitely going to cost us, but we're going to lose a lot of men attacking Carthage, I imagine. Traditional custom instead of rule of fear. I'd rather keep rule of fear for now because of the bonus military production. And as far as our next tech goes, probably something I can get some tech transfer on. Sure, we'll get sculpture. It will be useful later on. And they've founded Hippo over here, which is basically a worthless city as far as we're concerned. So let's move. Let's actually attack here. Yeah, we might as well before they garrison it up, and these guys can now start moving in on the Carthaginian. They've got 3 bowmen protecting their capital, a spearman and a short swordsman by the looks of it. So what I will do is probably try and destroy Hippo and then just declare peace. This should be an easy, yeah, this is an easy win. Let's just smash the city down. We got some of the secrets of philosophy. And is Carthage now willing to make peace? Cool, and we're going to make them swap to our civics to give them a few turns. It's going to take us about 10 turns to build our army up anyway, but this way we're going to stall them for a bit longer. And yeah, the civic change will cause them to waste a few turns. Kublai Khan has declared war on the Vikings. Okay, well that's a good thing to know that they're now going to be preoccupied with that, which gives us some more time to secure our lands, for sure. Pretty good stuff. These workers have finished another cottage, so let's come over here and build another one. And then road up between them. I want to make sure we've got roads between all of our cottages. And now we're starting to make some gold. Let's get a slave market next. That will help boost all of our worked tiles. And Utica can remain on production. I would like to keep the capital focused on production as well. Hadrimentum just needs to get that worker out, really, before it can go back to more standard building tasks. So let's get these cottages roaded up. More barbarians in Hadrimentum. Now we are coming close to the 50 turn mark, but since we're mostly preparing for this invasion, I think I'll probably go for a bit longer. Most cultured civilizations of the world. Cool. We're not on there, as far as I'm aware. No, so we're not cultured. But yeah, what can you do? When you declare war as early as we have, that's kind of what you've just got to live with. But it will give us more borders to work with. If the Vikings are fighting the Mongolians, that will probably continue for quite some time. The Mongolians and the Vikings are both fairly warlike nations, so I can imagine the two of them just beating on each other for, you know, the foreseeable future. So we'll try finish this army up, and once the army's complete, we will try to sort our economy out. Now Hadrimentum is building a barracks. I think I might as well finish the barracks now, but it won't be able to build any Cardaces to support any movements there. We could always get a storehouse, and after that, they could work this island, so yeah, let's get a fishing docks. Or smokehouse rather, and then some fishing docks. Probably a library after that. That will be one of our cities that we will actually have some fairly nice to work cottages. I think over in Persepolis we would like to get a smokehouse, the well, and then a library. I want to build the buildings that reduce epidemic chance, because the slave markets do increase epidemic chance, and I'd rather avoid those, keep our production high. Okay, and we've now met Oliver Cromwell of the English Empire, so I think that's the last nation that we needed to meet. And apparently they already really don't like us for declaring war on the Carthaginians so much. But I don't care, because, yeah, we don't really know where many of the nations are, where many of the nations live right now. But apparently a lot of them know where Carthage is, and they like them, which concerns me, but not too much. Let's move this army straight into Utica. And I think this new great general, we are going to pop in our lands for fierce warriors, just to make all of our melee units that little bit stronger in future wars. And now we are actually stronger than the Mongolians and the Carthaginians, which is a great thing to see. We actually have quite a powerful army. Now I think I would like to get horseback riding, because we do have access to horses, or we will be able to get access to them. And horses are pretty damn useful units. We've got a slave revolt in Hadrimentum. Let's go deal with that in just one moment. Apparently we can build an imperial cult here, which I think means that they actually have a pagan temple, and it's providing 4 culture. I think pagan temples are only supposed to provide 2, so I don't know why it's providing 4, but there you have it. Let's grab an imperial cult. That actually provides some happiness, so we might as well get it. Those slaves may become a problem, but we'll see what they decide to do. Let's move this army now down onto the plains there. And we are going to run out of gold pretty soon, which is, of course, not ideal. We'll have to move this worker away from those slaves before I build a cottage on that grassland there. Cool. Okay, looks like they're bringing out another settler group with some skirmishes to protect it. So let's declare war on Carthage again. Yep. Kill these units. Capture some slaves, and we captured a worker from that settler there. These revolting slaves want to be, well, revolting. And I will start a road back towards Persepolis in that direction. And let's have these guys move in to the Carthaginian land. These guys are going to move there, and these guys will go there. Cool. One of our archers got the experience for that fight, so I'm going to actually move him back and just have him heal up. Oh, let's get rid of those barbarians. I'll have that archer heal up with the skirmisher and just promote him. After we capture Carthage, we should be good to start protecting our lands once more. I'm going to build a road towards this hill. That way we can actually create a trade network with the Mongolians. Because we don't actually have any coastal cities yet. So we can't actually connect naval trade routes, which is slightly unfortunate. Let's actually start building a road here, and this archer I would like to promote with. Let's give him patrols. That will make him better versus recon units in future. Oh, and they brought some skirmishes in to capture that worker. That is a big shame. Let's just chaff up on these skirmishes. And we did manage to kill them, so we got another slave. Let's have him build a road. Have this slave build a road. And these guys can move over to that farm there. Those guys can go back to Sentry. We'll start bashing down the city walls of Carthage. We'll be ready to assault it next turn. And I think we should have no difficulties dealing with that. After building this barracks, I will train a skirmisher over in Hadramentum, because I would love to have a skirmisher protecting most of my cities. Recon units get some experience. Yes, they will be able to level up if I do that. So let's get a barracks over in Utica, which will be one of our sort of frontal cities against the Mongolians, and we may need to train units there in the future. And I just want skirmishers in each of my cities, really to, let's see, I should have a unit around here which only has the, yeah, so they do get the first promotion, great. Let's get a well, a library, let's get a well and then a skirmisher and then a library. I want to keep a skirmisher in each of my cities, really, and that will help protect against barbarians for the most part. Let's get a road built there and just have these guys come protect that slave from any potential attacks. Let's have this slave just build that road over there. Alright, let's bombard the city defences, and let's start throwing our men at Carthage. Now I'm not sure how badly these attacks will go. Apparently some of the attacks, we're not even going to score a single hit on the Carthaginian defenders. Well, we got some damage there. I'm not sure how much exactly, but we did get some damage. We knocked them down 1 point of strength, which is a good start. That's the point of these Cardaces. It's not really to take the city, but we do need to wound the defenders to the point that we actually have some chance of winning these fights. I mean, 0% chance to win is obviously atrocious, but yeah, you know, you gotta just use your chaff. You just sometimes gotta use some chaff. And as you can see, if I hadn't have built so many units, we would have no chance of capturing the city. So let's move in with these Cardaces. And as soon as the odds go massively into our favour, we'll use the Immortals to clean up. And any units we have left after this, we will probably... Oh, nice, nice. Wow, a 12% victory there. That's actually really good. That is a good result. I wasn't expecting that, nor should I. Wow, another 10. Wow, well, sometimes the dice roll in your favour, I suppose. Well, maybe my combat luck in this campaign is going to be a lot better than my previous one, as Mongolia. We'll see. We'll see if that trend continues. I doubt it, but you never know. You never know. Right. So, 26% chance against these Libyan spearmen. We should at least get some solid damage on them, if nothing else. Oh well, apparently not as solid as we could have hoped. But not to worry, I think we can now start moving the Immortals in. To use our weakest Immortal, 97% chance of victory. I like those odds. Those are much better odds. And because we're attacking a city, they'll actually get quite a lot of experience doing this as well. They should do anyway. I think these are going to be pretty much 100%, so let's just get these last 3 units and just stack attack with them. And we have captured Carthage. Excellent stuff. Yes, we would like to install a new governor. The rest of these units can be sort of split between our empire to just guard our lands. And the Carthaginian civilization has been destroyed. So we're one step closer to a conquest victory. One rival out of the game. And currently, we actually have quite good relations with the strongest empire in the game, Shaka of the Unguni, which is nice to see. Barbarians are still invading our borders, so we're going to have to fight them off. Might as well do the full 100-turn episode, I suppose. We're going to have to come down and deal with those slaves. Now, we did capture a new worker, which is good. Let's start building some roads up. These 2 slaves, I'm going to have them rowed southward, just help build up Hadrumentum. These units here, the 2 Cardaces, I'm actually going to give land tactics. Don't want to focus them too much on city raiding, since they're not really my best units for that. And this army, aside from the archer who's going to stay to protect Carthage, the immortals and such will just move out. So these guys need to move down to Hadrumentum. This guy needs to heal up. This guy needs to heal up. This worker can come over here. I think he can actually come over to this spot and build a cottage right there. Hopefully he won't get attacked as he does that. So let's move this army of immortals onto the borders of Utica. And I think we'll have Carthage on a grow policy for the time being. Cool, perfect. I'm not sure how many buildings we managed to capture. Just the smokehouse, that was it. Okay, bit of a shame, but we'll build a. We'll start off. We'll probably start off by building the carpenters actually, and then after that, we'll grab a slave market, a granary, and then probably a well. After that, we'll see after that. I'm not 100% sure, but these are going to be good tiles to work. We've got 2 slave farms. In fact. Yeah, it looks like the Carthaginians built slave farms on both these plots of corn, which is good because I would like to do that myself. So they haven't done anything egregiously incorrect with their building, which is nice. Let's road up these plains and get some more slave farms on the go. And let's actually increase our tech a little bit. Okay, so we've got our skirmisher. Just walk over here and just butcher those slaves. And this archer can actually go join up with our immortal army since he's promoted for field combat against recon units, so he can protect them against any skirmishes that appear. These slaves are now going to get killed by other slaves, which is not ideal. Yeah, we'll have. Let's move these guys over here actually, and then just have them heal there. I want this slave to move out probably onto the castle. There we go. Perfect. And the Transoxianans want us to go and attack England. There's no reason for us to accept that. They like us, but they're still going to like us even if we refuse. So I'm okay to decline that. And these skirmishes that I train, I'm just going to leave them in the cities as sort of slave suppression troops. And let's bring... oh, actually, these units are probably going to have to move into Hadrumentum to heal up. And the Vikings demand some gold from us. Well, if you insist. If you insist, Vikings, I can't really say no. Because they would come over and destroy me. Or at least they would probably want to. This skirmisher's leveled up. I'm going to give him... Let's give him visibility range. I think that's quite a nice promotion, after all. And then just have them move forward. Build another slave farm there for Utica. Now Utica should be able to get up to quite a decent size, actually. Yeah, it can actually grow again. So I want to move it over to a food focus and just grow up to size 4 there. Let's grab this little group of workers we have, move them across so that the slaves don't ruin them. Okay, they're still following them. That's rather awkward. Let's move over here and build a cottage. And these units can now start heading towards Carthage. In fact, we'll move the skirmisher separately, since he should be able to now actually attack one of these revolting slaves. If he does, though, he'll probably get killed, so I want to move them as a stack. They did smash down both our farms there, which is a bit annoying, but what can you do? So we'll play until the next sort of... our immortals actually could kick the crap out of that slave unit pretty swiftly. Let's move over here, and just we'll actually link up with this slave that's building a road on that spot, and we'll just quickly build that road there, and then get them to move back over here, get that cottage built up. And the immortals are quite good at killing these slave units because they have bonus versus melee, which is obviously quite nice. Kill that slave there. Just heal up this worker. Perfect. We can go back to re-improving Hadrimentum, because that took some damage in these fights. We've got a lot of cottages around Utica, but we could get some more farms. So let's work on building a few more farms. Once Utica's grown up, I will swap it over to a commerce focus. And over here, let's get a caravanserai to improve our commerce gain, and swap back over to a commerce focus for Persepolis. They should now be... They're actually focusing mostly on production right now. If I was to, for example, take them off of some of this production, put them on working those cottages, if I have them working there, no, they won't need to work there. See, cottage, 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 stagnant. It's taken them ages to build the caravanserai, but I'm not bothered about that. I really want to get those cottages grown up and producing a lot of wealth for our nation. We need to really start raking in that gold for science that we're lacking in, and also to actually expand our empire quite a lot too. Let's switch over to a commerce focus in Utica. In fact, I probably don't even want to work this mine. We'll just work more cottages, and we will halt it from growing. No, we'll focus entirely on commerce for now. If we can really get our commerce back on track, then what we can do after that is actually build more cities, which I would love to do. Let's have those guys on sentry. And this small force of units, probably move them over to the borders as well. Those slaves do not particularly bother me in that spot there, because they'll have to move into a rather undefended position to actually destroy any of our improvements. So I'm not too worried about those. I'm going to have this this force. Might be worth keeping it in Hadrimentum, but we can keep an eye on any Mongolian troop movements with our galley. Now, I'm not sure where this slave's going to go, but anywhere it does go is not going to be good for it. Let's see if we can get any more open border agreements. I doubt the English are not going to accept open borders with us. South China, they won't, but Taoism is spreading, so it's quite possible we'll get Taoism spread to us. The Vikings don't look like they're too interested. What would you trade for cattle? Well, basically everything that I have, so we're not going to accept that. And Kublai Khan doesn't really mind us, which is nice, but he doesn't like us either. Let's fight this barbarian in that wood. 98% chance to win, should be good. Okay, then we can move back onto that hill. 96% chance to kill these revolting slaves. And we finally got our cattle back online, which is also good to see. Let's build a road over to that farm there. Get those farms back working again. I am going to give pacification 3, because these guys are mostly here for fighting barbarians off. And that means they can earn even more experience fighting barbarians over the course of this game. These workers, I can actually loop that road around the lake there. Let's make sure they sentry, and these guys can sentry. And these guys can also sentry. Perfect. Right. A couple more turns before the end of the episode. Just a couple. So I'll try and get through them as well, at a reasonable pace. And once they've finished that road there, they can move on to that corn. Now I am worried that they did stop working. I hope there isn't like a barbarian cavalryman who's going to just come in there and capture them. That'd be most unfortunate. But we have just discovered horseback riding, which is good. What else can we get for tech transfer? We could get metal casting. Forgers would be quite useful to have, but I think we'll grab philosophy. It's not a particularly difficult tech to get, and it does unlock some more civics for us if we decide to use them in future. Okie dokie. I think after that caravanserai, we'll probably have enough gold coming in that we can actually build some more cities. I'm thinking this city down here just to link our borders up, and then get this coastal city working over there. The horses and that we can get a little bit later, simply because I might even just go on a little bit of a settler rush, just get all of those cities plotted down. But really, we need to get the water pump technology to get rid of all this jungle. But then we can build quite a lot of commercial plantations on those dyes, which should provide quite a lot of wealth. So it might be worth going for a water pump pretty soon. We will need civil engineering, so we are going to need metal casting, so I'll probably get that next. But that'll have to come next episode. Slaves in Utica are rebelling. Let's just get rid of those when they move to a more advantageous tile to attack. Can swap this farm out for a cottage. I'm not really too bothered in that farm being there. And those slaves apparently are going to attack somebody else, which I'm also a-okay with. I do not mind if they want to go elsewhere. I think after this library we would like to get more caravanserai's to just improve our income. Carthage could potentially build us a weaver's shop, because it does have access to hemp, but hemp only provides 2% commerce. The cotton here in Utica actually would provide quite a lot. I think that's a 5% for cotton. Only 3%, okay. But 3% from cotton there. We can get a weaver's shop for dye over here, probably, and then over here as well. This city is going to be quite powerful actually. It's got 2 food resources and then 3 commerce resources if I transfer that dyes from this city to this one. So that could be quite wealthy indeed. Those are probably some good spots, but I think Utica we will build ourselves a weaver's shop there when we can. And we don't want to grow the city anymore, so that will just stagnate for the time being. That's okay. We're now into gold positive again. I do want to keep a bit of a stash of gold, and that's because the Vikings are obviously asking us for tribute, and I don't want a Viking army to suddenly appear and just ruin us. That would kind of suck. In fact, the Vikings have now converted to Zoroastrianism, so they've actually founded their own religion. This could actually play in our favour. Them founding their own religion does offer the possibility for us to ally with them through religious unity. Something to consider, certainly, as we go on, as the game progresses. So there's philosophy. We get a few new civics. Pacifism, definitely do not want at this point in the game. Swapping over to traditional custom might actually not be a terrible idea. But we will lose mob justice in our cities, and that's not great. Because some of our cities are actually the size that they are because they can get the happiness from mob justice. Health in all our cities, not too much of a concern. New units receive extra experience is quite nice. More cultures, never a bad thing. And local autonomy, I believe, does actually provide happiness when you build it. It requires code of laws as well, but it reduces your military unit production, but gives you happiness. I'm not too enthralled with that idea. And Republic would just increase our maintenance further, and we don't have the economy to support a Republic. So we'll just stick with our civics that we have right now. And that will be the end of the episode. So we've got most powerful civilizations of the world. We are in place 7. Now there are only 8 civilizations left, so this sort of, every 50 turns you'll get a great civilizations pop up, and now that we've actually destroyed the Carthaginians, there will only ever be 8 civs, which means that we should always show up on this list, at least somewhere. And being more powerful, militarily speaking, than the Mongolian Empire is worrying, because the Mongolians are quite warlike. At least I would have thought so. But looking at the teams that are actually in the game, I'll just quickly go over this, since we do know who all the civilizations are now. We have the South Chinese, led by Sun Quan. He's industrious, which means he can produce a lot more stuff. So yeah, that's... and the South Chinese are obviously going to be at least somewhat militaristic. English Empire, very expansive. They're also industrious, so they're going to be able to produce quite a lot of units too. The Unguni Empire, led by Shaka, who's a militaristic expansionist, speaks for itself. The Viking Empire, led by Gustav II, militaristic and imperialistic. Mongolian Empire, militaristic, creative. Transoxianan, conqueror. So pretty much every single civilization currently in the game is pretty warlike. So we really need to make sure we have a strong standing army so that we don't just get rolled over, because that is quite possible at this rate. But that's something we'll have to consider as we continue. Carthage can't really grow anymore. That's worrying. Let's just stop it from growing for the time being then. Right. Well, there we have it. We have managed to destroy the Carthaginians, and from this point onwards, we're now going to have to focus quite heavily on expanding our empire, but peacefully. We need to get more. We need to settle some of this nice land that we've picked out for ourselves, and we should be able to actually fit quite a lot of useful cities, useful and productive cities around in our empire. I think our main concern going into the future or into further episodes will be, we definitely want to get these horses quite soon. In fact, that might be the first city that I settle. If we can get if we get horses, we get horseback riding, and we get access to iron. Once we get armor crafting, then that will allow us to we'll be able to get some charge cavalry, and some quite strong ones as well. I imagine the Persian charge cavalry are quite good as a distinctive unit. And they're going to be integral for keeping slave revolts under control, as well as making use of our conqueror trait, which will obviously make our charge cavalry that little bit stronger. They'll be able to be trained with 2 promotions if we build a stables, which obviously we will. So that is a very enticing thought. Yeah, but probably looking at more peaceful expansion in the next couple of episodes, which I'm obviously not against. Our economy is quite weak right now. We can't support that large of an army or that much sort of research. We don't want to fall behind by too much. We probably already have started to fall behind in terms of technology, but I think we've got good land. So as long as we expand at a reasonable pace, we should be able to bring those numbers back up. And once we've got all these cottages growing and properly providing a solid amount of commerce, yeah, we can look at making a lot more research overall. Anyway, it's been me, Chaff Commander Coffee. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.